Trafficking Victims Protection Act has to be reauthorized because it comes to an end at the end of this year. So what we've tried to do, and I'm new to this issue, as I said, because when it first passed and when they first started considering, I hadn't even been elected yet, but the bill it needs to be reauthorized, number one, because it goes away. And it's largely designed to create a national template that allows for coordination of different services across state lines. It also deals with the role that the federal government can play in federal prosecutions, particularly if people are being trafficked across state lines and interstate commerce, etc. The other thing it does is it tries to learn, or it tries to apply some of the things we've learned over the last few years that the law has been in place. One of the challenges, for example, is oftentimes the victims are people that are brought here illegally or are here and their visas have expired, and they're terrified about cooperating in the prosecution against the pimps or the organized crime syndicate because they believe they're going to be deported. And so what this allows them to do is that it gives more flexibility for the U.S. Attorney's Office and immigration authorities to create to allow them to stay in this country in a protected status so that they can testify and cooperate in that prosecution. And so that's just one small example of, there may be several others, of how the law tries to take into account some of the things we've learned over the last few years as it's been applied.
Senator,
yes.
I would imagine that there are some people who are rather concerned about a lot of immigration issues, even one that might be as well-intentioned as this. You see that as being...
It's been a factor. Some people have talked about it. I mean, the concern is not the victims. The concern is that someone would exploit this and use it as a loophole to somehow game the system. You're always concerned about somebody gaming the system. This is a law that's designed to help victims of trafficking and exploitation, and you would hate to see a scenario where someone would somehow be able to game the system and benefit from it. So because they're taking the place of someone who actually needs the help. So there's some have expressed concern about that. But I think at the end of the day, when we're done examining the issue and figuring out ways to close opportunities for that sort of abuse to happen, I think we'll be able to come up with language that will be acceptable to everybody. I expect this will have strong bipartisan support.
And these child victims of prostitution are being treated like prostitutes, and that's not the case. We want to ensure that these children are getting access to the necessary services and to treat them and to make sure that we're treating them and dealing with them mind, body, and soul.
It's a multifaceted problem that requires our attention. It's an international problem. It's extremely acute in other parts of the world, in Southeast Asia, in Eastern Europe, in Africa, in Latin America. This is a major problem, but it's a problem here in America as well. These children, these young girls, these women, they are victims. And obviously we want and need their cooperation in order to prosecute the evil people that have done this to them. But these are also human beings who have an opportunity to turn their lives around and contribute to the well-being of our country. We're hoping to get it passed as some sort of major piece of legislation at the end of the year here, when there's a bunch of things that need to be reauthorized, but we hope this will be one of them.
Senador, uno de los puntos